On paper, Outscraper might be the cheapest way to scrape Google Maps in 2026. $3 per 1,000 businesses, 500 free leads per month. If price is everything, this video should be a bloodbath against us. So, why isn't it? Full disclosure, this video is made on behalf of Scrub.io, which is exactly why we built a protocol where the screen speaks, not me. 6 rounds, the same search. Let's find out what $3 per 1,000 leads really means. As for the protocol itself, we are going to scrape restaurants in Charlotte, North Carolina. We will compare the Outscraper and the Scrub.io method based on these 6 steps. Time to first lead, volume, data depth, targeting, scale, and price reality. Let's start with the first step, meaning time to first lead. On Outscraper, the sign-up is very quick, after which I hit the correct scraper. Then we have a form to fill in. So far, so good. It looks generally simple. Select your categories or brands of places, select locations, maximum results limit. I just wouldn't recommend turning on the unlimited leads feature unless if you are sure you have the credits to do so. Following that, we have access to some enrichments. By default, the recommended pack is selected, allowing us to get phones, emails, and company insights. Let's just leave it at that. It's about time to get data. Unfortunately, a surprise awaits us. By the way, I switched the number from 500 to 200 to get a smaller sample size. And the completion time is estimated to be an hour. It's a bit long, isn't it? Fortunately, for some reason, it didn't take the full hour, merely just a few minutes. Good for us. Now what about on Scrub.io? Well, gathering leads on Scrub.io has never been easier. All you need to do is select a category and a location. You hit search, you wait for a few seconds, and you have access to your data. To make things as simple as possible, you can directly export your data. Let's set up a limit of 200 results so we can compare both files pretty easily. From now on, you can close your laptop because our scrapers are already running. I can speed up the video and we can notice it really didn't take that long. Now, to be honest, we are not counting every second, so I might say both tools did their job properly. It's a draw. The step number 2 is volume. In terms of volume, you may or may not know this. When it comes to the Google Maps interface, there is an invisible limit of 120 results, no matter how big your request is. Credits were due. Outscraper breaks the 120 cap with automatic area splitting, so the volumes are real. They're real, more or less. On my Excel file, I ended up with 185 rows, whereas I asked for 200. It's not that a big of a deal, that's only 10% less. What's a big deal though is when you compare it to Scrub.io, you see the real number of leads on screen. You see that number before launching everything, and counts are free. While on Outscraper, you discover the size of your bill once the task is finished. So on that one, likely a time in terms of volume, but the difference is when you learn the number beforehand. So I'm going to give the point to Scrub.io. The round number 3 is data depth. Let's take a look at the Outscraper maps file. Name, address, phone, site, hours, reviews data. It's pretty neat. You also have some enrichments, of course. Email, socials, and phone from the domain. Although you have more columns on Outscraper, you will find a very similar pattern on Scrub.io. For the record, for having access to more data is not always a good thing. For example, in the first version of Scrub.io, we unlocked even more data fields. However, it turned out to be more confusing than anything else. Concretely, there is little difference between the two files, with one exception. On Scrub.io, it's 1 credit per row. You have Google Maps data, email, or rather emails already classified by type. Individual email with first and last name, contact email, sales email, website technologies, ad pixels, and so on. In our Charlotte export, more than 800 leads had an email address found on their site. Again, it is pretty easy to know that because the pre-count is free of charge. On that one, it's pretty tricky, it's pretty hard to declare a clear winner. The fourth round is targeting. Let's make a test, shall we? I want to target restaurants, yes, but only those with at least an email address and with a rating equal or below 3.5 stars. Advanced filters are listed on the paid tiers. The free tier gets the basic form. Fortunately, I subscribed to the paid plan, so I can show you. The filters are hidden within the advanced parameters option. So can we apply these two filters, a rating equal or below 3.5 stars, with an email address? For the first one, it's quite doable. First, let's take a look at some active filters. It will be based on the rating, but for some reason, we don't have an option equals or inferior than. So let's try another way. Maybe a pretty good alternative, although it's not perfect, is to directly select bad rating. In that case, we will get businesses containing a rating below than 3 out of 5 stars. About the second filter, filtering by has email before extraction is structurally impossible because emails come from a second enrichment step. So you pay for roughly 2000 rows, you enrich them and then discover which ones had an email address, which is not very convenient. On Scrap.io, you can filter before export. Email is present and the rating with a maximum value of 3.5 stars. The count updates, counting is 3, so you know you can only export those rows. Definitely, on that one, I'm going to give the point to Scrap.io. Round number 5, scale. Outscraper generally scales. Country level runs are possible, and at above 100,000 leads, the price drops to $1 per 1,000. This is their home turf. On Scrap.io, you can also do pretty neat things. You can expand your request in just 2 clicks. So I can perfectly scrape all of North Carolina if I want to. I can even remove the category to scrape all the businesses, and I can even scrape an entire country if I want to. Now, I cannot run those requests on live because I don't have the credits to do so, but I think it's pretty safe to say we expect a draw here. Scaling your request is very easy on Scrap.io, but at the same time, if you need 1 million raw rows for a project, Outscraper is built for that. Finally, round number 6, price reality. Let's assume I want to get 2000 leads with emails. I forgot to mention this. On Outscraper, you are limited to 500 places per query search. In order to get 2000 leads, I had no choice but to turn my single request into 4. And even by doing so, when I hit the Get Data button, it seems I'm about to get 1200 leads instead of 2000. And please don't tell me I picked up small towns. Anyway, the price ranged from $2 to $37. It may be cheap, but it may not be. That's a surprise. Let's be honest here, the gap is so huge, I'm not the only one who noticed it. In short, you cannot know the final row count and thus the bill before the task runs. On Scrap.io, the basic plan costs you $49 a month, giving you access to 10,000 credits. And a credit is equal to a unique lead. Enrichment included, count known before you spend. So our 2000 lead test counts for 1/5 of a month. So per lead, Outscraper wins on paper. But per usable filter lead, the conclusion might differ. Outscraper take the raw price point honestly, but the predictability point goes to Scrap.io. If you are a data engineer feeding a warehouse with millions of rows and you love APIs, Outscraper is a solid, honest pick at that scale. However, if you are building prospecting lists, filtered, enriched, ready for outreach, you may prefer Scrap.io. Why not try it yourself? With the link in the description, your first 100 leads are free of charge.